I'm live again. Yay! Anyone watching this back later, I was doing a live stream, jolly old Saturday night plan, and Zot power went out, and it was a very weird, localized power outage. I don't mean my house. I mean, I saw the outage map, and it was very weird shape, and I don't know what did it. Someone at a substation kicked a power point out of the wall or something that serviced the suburb. But there's no reason for it. Like normally when there's a blackout, it's because of a storm or a heat wave or some sort of overload. It just went out and came back. So hi, Luke and Addy. Don't know who else is going to come back. You give it a go. It's like, oh, we just sort of sat around for, what was it, 20 minutes? The official, like the energy company website, they had no freaking idea what was happening. And they said that might not come back till 1 a.m., which I think, their way of saying, we have no idea, you should just go to bed. And then it came back on. So the whole outage was only about 20 minutes. Looking as normal for South Australia, not Victoria. I do not remember the last time that happened, that power just went pink for no real reason. It's one of those things. It happens sometimes. Very rarely. It was quite weird. It actually took a second to sink in that the power had gone out, although that is obviously what had happened because I got plunged in darkness. The funny thing is, because of course a laptop has battery power, so it didn't go off. And in fact, the ring light on my webcam did not go off because it's plugged into the laptop. But thanks to the glorious NBN, which needs electricity to operate, as soon as the electricity went out, my internet cut off. Yay! Hey, Justin and Rain. Yeah, it was one of those things. It's very weird. No real reason. And also, without warning, we're back. Did I keep hydrated? Yeah, well, I almost finished my juice, my soursop nectar, which, as I've mentioned every other time I've had a drink, I think is custard apple. I got it from Costco, and being American, they call it soursop. Apparently, that's what Americans call it. Looking at the illustration, I think it's a custard apple. It is a nice juice, or a nectar. Hey, Pete, I'm back. Yeah, I was actually in two minds about coming back. But maybe just leave it. And I was like, no, you know what? I was looking forward to it. Having a bit of a Saturday night online party. See what's happening. And I need to hook up router to a universal uninterruptible power supply. Be wrong, but I do not think that would. I think is a shitty way the NBN is set up in Australia. That bits of it that are outside of my property need electricity to be running. Definitely, my modem and router need electricity to run, but I actually think it goes a bit further than that. I could easily be wrong. Not really that technical a person, but I think like if my whole street's powers out, an uninterruptible power supply would not count for shit because the nodes wouldn't have any power, and so it would not be delivering that precious broadband. Well, fraudband, as the wags like to call it. Very, very biting political commentary there. But no, really, the LNP deliberately fucked Australia for really shallow, short-term political motivation. Sucks. Ooh, Addy got yellow hair now. Should we have you on cam for that? I'm liking the sound of the yellow hair. You can't tell in this light. I put purple color in my hair. If I was out in sunshine, you'd be able to see that I've got purple highlights, aka my grey hair is dyed purple. You can maybe see it a bit. It's cut quite short on the sides. You might be able to tell that's a bit purple. So, sorry, what are you wanting me to share, Luke? I think I've missed something. Something Peter said. I think I missed. I don't know if all the chat's appearing. Yeah. All right. Well, why not get this party started for anyone who's interested? Wait, what was I doing there? Yeah. For anyone who's interested and wants to join the party, there is 2 niggets linked. And I'm all out of fruit juice. Well, I'm not all out of fruit juice. It's just sitting there. I could mix another one. I've also got this. This is the last thing, the milk punches I was making today. Yeah, this one's just about done. Always look like urine samples. Like, again, this was really, really dark before the clarification process. And now it's a really nice translucent yellow. Looks a bit darker on screen than it does in real life. It's quite clear in real life. Peter said he had a screenshot when the power went out. Oh, Megaleech actually shared one, I think. Not I think. I don't know, send me one. Facebook. So where are we? Okay, I can share that. This is the one that Megaleech sent me, a little bit of the chat that was going on when I cut out and people stayed in the chat for a while. So for when was my last power outage? I don't know. Would have been... There's always a risk. The 2 times when power outages normally happen is in heat waves where everyone's trying to use air conditioners and it overloads the system, or in a storm. A power outage just like this, just like completely random with no obvious reason for it. I literally do not remember when that last happened. I mean, it happens occasionally, but I don't know if, the last time was a year ago or 10 years ago. I just don't remember it happening. It was really quite weird. It was quite disconcerting. Just the thing that this almost never happens, and now it's why is it happening? And also when I talked about the milk punches I've been making, it's also why I'm wearing the white shirt, because I was dressed up to make a video. I made the first part where I mixed them, and then I was going to do the second bit. Oh, Peter, you sent me a screenshot via Twitter. Oh, captures me in the dark. Okay, I have to see that. Let me have a look. I'll open the Twitters on the laptops. Let me see. Notifications. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'll wait just a second, and I will share that. This is what Peter sent me. Just the ghostly figure of me lit by the laptop screen and the ring light. You can see the ring light in my glasses. Just for a moment before it went away completely. There must have been some lag with the router. Yeah, that was me. the random and unexpected power outage. Well, this variety is the spice of life, as they say. You've got to have the unexpected happen every now and then to keep us on our toes. If you could predict everything that was going to happen, life would be boring. So, we got a bit of interesting stuff. I might actually, what I'll do is a taste test of these two milk punches on camera. So you all will get to see me do it, and it'll be for the end of my video, which means I'd have to go after it because I've got to go get my tie and vest. It's like my costume for cocktail videos now. Right. A bit of leftover pizza on the plate just there. How about this? Numb. Was it the last time you had a power outage at your mum's place? The Australian Open finals were on. Had to use your Optus SIM card. Okay. Addie's going to. Oh, yes.
Hey. Sorry.
That's fantastic. Oh, I love it.
Fun?
That's just fantastic. That's absolutely awesome. Yes.
So I think Mario said he mixed a couple of different colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just absolutely loving it.
No, it's really good. I really like it. I just had this weird thought. If I shine a light through my hair, where's the torch? See if I do. Can you see? Can you see? It's like purple.
The color, yeah, that definitely makes it clearer that you've got color through it.
Yeah.
No, that's a hard thing when it's a darker color and you've not got the That's why I moved where I was so that.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. If I was out in the sunshine, the purple would be very noticeable. But just with room lighting, it just looks dark basically. That's a good. Oh wow! Okay, that's one of the big winner ISO hairdos I've seen. I'm loving that.
I loved though, because I went to my hairdresser to do it, and I had gone in was like, "Oh, we'll go back to red," and he was like, "I'm thinking, what about gold?" And I was just like, "All right." And he goes, "You've still got your red conditioner, so if you want to go back to red after this fades, you can do it at home with your conditioner." Yeah. But then at least you've done something different. And he's like, "I think it'll just be fun. It'll brighten you. It's something happy." And I was like, I need that right now.
Yeah. No, that should brighten anyone who sees it. That is absolutely fabulous. I'm loving it.
Walking through the bit of shops after to get a couple of things I needed, I had so many people just some people clearly weren't sure whether or not they could approach me about my hair. And then some people just started caring and being like, "Your hair is amazing. What is this?" And I was like, "I know."
Because it's a very uncommon color. Last few years we've seen, really bright red, bright purple, bright blue, all having their moments. But yes, that really brilliant yellow, that's yeah. Oh, yes, a Pikachu color, yes.
Pikachu, yes. Because I've had a few people like, "What kind of yellow would you call that?" And I'm like, I've no fucking clue. This is just what Mario did. His magic. I don't question it.
Yeah, Pikachu yellow, that's a good way to describe it. I like that. Oh, and hi, Lion Spider. It's just coming in the chat. Yeah, lucky I came back. I was out with a bloody blackout for inexplicable reasons, but it only lasted 20 minutes, and then we're back for another fabulous Saturday. I'm just going to bed then. It's like there's no power.
Yeah.
And I probably, if it had taken 10 more minutes, I probably would have been in bed. I would have just gone, no, I'm not sitting in a dark room. What the hell? Because also, actually, what I should do is go and grab my phone charger, because that was the other thing that was bugging me. My phone's on like 10%.
Yeah.
And if this happens again, I'll just have no phone. So
you need a backup battery.
I still have the ones from Pokemon Go days where everyone was getting backup batteries. Still got one or two of those around, although I'm honestly not sure where they are because I haven't used them for a couple of years. Hold the fort for a sec. I've just got to grab my card while I think of it.
I don't know what to do to hold the fort. Someone ask a question in the thing. Let's do I don't know. I'm not that interesting.
All right, coming back. Okay, got my charger. Here we go.
How's the clubs going in Adelaide? I think some of them were supposed to be opening in the next week or two. But I honestly don't know anyone who's gone to them. We were actually talking about that today at Archie & Co, my hairdressing place I go to.
Yeah.
About how nice it will be to be able to go somewhere just to have a meal, or even now my cafe round the corner can actually have people dine in again. Just going there, because I love my cat, but he does not understand personal space. And sometimes I just need a break, and it's nice to be able to just walk 3 minutes around the corner and be able to have that break.
Yeah, and they're as of I think it's Monday, 1st of June. They're opening up here to 20 patrons, cafes and pubs, etc. Okay, Rain's just seen your hair.
Actually,
yellow hair. And he's going, oh no, it wasn't kind of sort of blonde yellow. It's yellow. Yeah.
Absolutely, like when Mario commits to a color, we like go full blown.
Yeah.
This is how we're doing it. So I did laugh at he got, I can't remember who was the name of the lovely guy who does the photos there. And I feel terrible because I should know that. I've been there often enough. But I know that they've taken promo photos, so probably in the next few weeks they'll be up somewhere on Instagram on Mario's page. So then I can be like, look, he makes me look so pretty with the angles.
Yeah. No, it looks fantastic. Yes,
really
Stella, I'm here. Yellow hair's here. Yeah. It's all good.
It looked really good with because I'd had makeup on today, so I had like purple and pink eyeshadow and then like a really big winged eyeliner and like purple lips. It looks so good as a whole look. But
if you had photos taken, I'm keen to see them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll definitely share them. Like the last time when he put up photos of my red hair, and I was like, "Look, Mario made me look amazing."
That was great. Yeah. But yeah, it's a happening thing. I was just after saying next step in New South Wales is letting 50 people, because they opened up with the 10 people, which is not really. And I agree with Dan Andrews when he said that just doesn't make sense. No one can make money with 10 patrons, so it doesn't even make sense. Yeah. We're going to wait till we're ready to say 20, and then that's it. So, yeah,
have noticed a few places have had to put up pricing to cover the cost because they're losing money by only being open to X amount. Even just going into somewhere like Lush today, because I had not much left, and I like to buy their stuff because it's zero waste. So popped in there, and even them, some of the new products that have come out, the pricing I've noticed is a few dollars more, which is obviously because they've been hit as well, because they're not a hugely profitable company, especially in Australia. So yeah, I'm just glad that it doesn't look like they fired anyone. So I was glad about that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the staff at that store are amazing. And I'm so glad that they're able to come back to work, even though you're only allowed 7 people in the store at one time, and it's the biggest store in the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay. Yeah. That's going to be different. Yeah, retail's going to get a bit more normal in the coming weeks, and it's going to still be a long road for hospitality. But yeah, I think some places, because there was a story like places opening in Sydney for 10 people, and one place was going right off because someone made a booking for 4 people and then didn't show up, and that, of course, is absolutely crippling. And the venue had a real spray on Facebook about there's a special corner in hell for you.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, if this was going on, venues would probably have to take deposits. Like, it's like, you can book in for dinner and stuff. We're hitting your credit card for $100 before you get here, and take it from there. But yeah. Oh, Rain saying got a booking for 20 people this Monday. That is sounding that's suddenly a huge event. If you start talking about that many people, it's huge. Oh, and hello, David. Yes, you missed Synth Action. I had a blackout, and that's the appreciation for Robert Moog stream died. Then 20 minutes later, my power came back, so I decided to come back. So yes, it's all good.
My cat is currently doing psycho laps up and down the hall.
Yeah. How's how old is your cat?
I just took him to the vet the other month, or a couple of weeks ago, so he's got 2 years and 4 months, I think, now. Okay.
Yeah. So our cat, Mimsy's at least a teenager. We've had her for Jesus, how long? Oh my God, no, Mimsy's at least 16. I'm just thinking because 10 years in this other house, 3 years here, and she wasn't a kitten when we got her. So yeah, she's at least 15 or 16. But she'll still do the crazy thing up the hall. Not often, but every now and then you're lying in bed and you hear those little padded footsteps thumping up the hall, and you go, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing that?
See, my last cat, Zasman, was about 13, 14, and I'd taken him to the vet for his annual, and the vet was like, oh, yeah, he's really fit and healthy. He's got years left in him. I was like, please do not say that. He will die to spite you. He was that kind of cat. He died a month and 3 days later.
Yeah.
Just of either a heart attack or a stroke. And I was like, see? You jinxed it. You shouldn't say crap like that to an obstinate cat. He will die to spite you. Yeah. So, but he was such a drama queen, that cat.
Yeah. There's a bit of that going on. I just know Safra asking, did AT lose power? No, he wouldn't have. He lives way other side of town to me. He lives a very long way away, and this power outage was very localized. So unless there's some rolling problem, he won't have had an outage. Oh, Rain, you're doing a chili club. That sounds like fun. 20 people in the chili club. Everyone prepays, so if they don't show up, they lose their money. Yep, that's the way to do it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Lion Spider of Crow is saying how they missed their cat who lived 13 years. She had a fiery spirit. 3.5 kilos. Gosh, that's smaller than my little one, and kept the neighborhood dogs in line. Gotta love a cat with that attitude.
Yeah. Yes. The old size doesn't matter attitude is no. I'll control the space.
Stella's two cats less than 4 kilos. They make as much noise as a herd of elephants when they're tearing around the house. Yeah, Opie's not quite 4.5 kilo, and he's still quite little. But yeah, it sounds like I own more than one cat when he's going psycho. Could be
everyone was asking how I got up this morning. It was fine. What was funny is apparently in the middle of the night, there was a cat fight in our laundry. Like we have a cat door, and we used to shut it at night because there was a neighbor cat that was coming in and eating their food. But I think we haven't been lately because we kept it shut for so long. The cat stopped trying to get in, and so we can have the cat door operating so our cats can out. And Mrs. Angry told me there was a cat fight that was really loud, and I didn't stir at all. I'm just hanging there.
We had at not my last house before when I was renting with my mum, Jasmine, my last cat, this big black cat that it kind of seemed to come in and out of the area, so I don't know whether its owners would occasionally be responsible and take care of it and then otherwise just kick it out. And it just wanted to be inside at night. So it would try to come into our cat door. And I remember one night just about to go to sleep and I heard this noise and I grabbed the nearest object, which was an umbrella, and I'm going out to just get this cat out of the laundry with an umbrella. And Zasman was just giving it what for. He was not taking it lying down. Don't come into his place. God, it scares the crap out of you.
Oh, yeah. I will, because I also have a problem with possums in the roof, and they'll occasionally do races through the ceiling. So when I hear the thundering noise, half the time I'm never sure, was that a possum or was that a cat? Because you're trying to place, where's the rumbling coming from? Is it coming from the hallway or the roof? So,
see, at least I've only got pygmy possums, and I've slowly, through encouraging them by feeding them at the back of the backyard, they don't come towards the house anymore because they used to climb up the screen doors and they look like rabbits. They scare the crap out of you. And then the cat's a rubbish hunter. This is a cat who puts one paw on a huntsman spider and goes, "Look, Mama touched it." You don't kill it. I'll do that. I've encouraged the pygmy possums to stay at the back of the yard, which they seem happy with. And if they run out of food, they tell me because they come towards the house and start annoying me. And I'm like, right, okay. Time to give you more fruit.
I haven't actually seen our possums, but I think they're big, fat brush-tail possums. And hence the thundering they make when they run through the ceiling. Like literally once or twice I've thought it was thunder. And there's this rumbling noise. I go, is that thunder? Because it's coming from above, and it's like, was that thunder or was that the possums? Like, but they're a bit of a thing. It's actually kind of weird. I've never seen them because in the previous house where it was definitely brush-tail possums, I used to see the possums around the house and climbing on the fence and stuff quite regularly. But these ones I've never actually seen. I only hear them. So Lion Spider had a big cat when you were a kid. 8 kilograms. Lazy hunter only killed birds which swooped him. Use the least energy to kill the birds. Well, they're asking for it. Invisible chicken, you have demonic possums. That's the thing. Possums and cats make the same noise when they're fighting as when they have sex, and it's both the bad. It's screaming devil sort of. Oh, and hello, Guy. How's it going, mate?
I just hinted you can hear Opie fossicking and something.
Yes.
Oh, now he's appeared in this room. What are you doing? I dug out one of his catnip toys this morning and put in extra catnip because I was going out for a few hours. Yeah. So he's stoned and excited.
All right, so he's high now. Cool. Yeah, there you go. Neither of my cats are affected by catnip because we actually try, because not all cats are. And we did actually give them some, and neither of them are affected by it. So,
absolutely loves it. He will, like, if I don't hide it in the pantry, he will bring it out of the pantry and give it to me because he wants more.
Ah, yes, yeah. Yeah, some cats really go for it.
He's
Really.
too.
Yeah, yeah. As oh god, I've seen some funny photos and videos of like someone who has catnip in their garden, and there's 50 stoned cats lying in their garden, like because word got around the neighborhood that they could just like get in there and get off their trees, and I was like, oh dear, junky
One thing I
cat.
have I want to try is catnip tea for the cat because
Ooh,
he loves water. So I
yeah,
feel like if I put that in a shallow bowl in the bathroom, especially in summer, just make that nice and cool, that would be a way for him to calm down and enjoy, but not
mm,
get too wet.
yeah, yeah. That sounds fair. Yeah, I God certainly because we have two cats, Mimsy, who occasionally graces us with her presence, and Shadow, who's a few years younger. But Shadow could do with like some friggin' calming catnip. She always, still to this day, will occasionally panic around you, and like the running joke is, she thinks we just keep saying she thinks we're going to murder her, and it's just like, yes, Shadow, despite the fact for 10 years you have not been murdered, you're right. Today could be the day. Today could be the day the humans snap and just decide to murder you for no reason. And like, I don't mean like if we stomp around or make loud noise, because all cats get scared by that. I mean literally just she'll be sitting there and you're going to, and she'll just get up with this panic thing and shoot out like, oh my God, they were going to murder me. They were definitely going to murder me. Like, oh. Was it Rain saying being in a Nordic country, don't get possums? That makes sense. And your walls are stuffed with insulation, so there's no room for rats or anything to. Oh, well, there you go.
Possums find a way. They don't care. My favorite thing I ever saw was that photo of a possum who'd found a way in through a roof into a bakery and ate so many pastries, it was too fat to move. It couldn't go anywhere. They just came in the next morning to this like obese possum stuffed out on pastries. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah. And again, not exaggeration, the possum's like on its back with its arms out going, I can't believe I ate the whole thing. It just kept going until it was like, no, now I can't move. I, totally empathize with that particular possum. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, what was the other one? Yeah, because kookaburras, if they're around picnic areas, they're big meat eaters, and of course they're cute. And sometimes people will feed them the sausages and whatnot. And there's a story I see circulated now and then. This just really round kookaburra in a vet's office, and it's like, vet rehabilitates kookaburra who ate so many sausages it was too fat to fly, and it looked really cute, but it was like very bad for its health.
The kookaburras out this way, I think, because all the oldies in the area must feed them.
Yeah.
They just come by and they're just like, yeah, hey, I've got magpies and cockatoos as well who do the same thing. But the magpies love to mess with Opie because he's indoor only.
Yeah.
And they know he can't get to them.
Yeah.
So they'll play hide and seek between the windows in the backyard.
Oh, yes. Well, magpies are quite intelligent. I could see them having fun doing that.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people feed magpies in my neighborhood. The magpies around here are quite friendly. I haven't really seen kookaburras around here. Although I do remember on the Great Ocean Road, I haven't done that trip for ages, but I often used to take visitors out there because there's this one stop where there's a koala colony. And like, I've posted videos of this a few times, and there's a lot of parrots, and there's a little shop there and they'll sell you a thing of seed, and you go out and just hold your hand out with seed, and these king parrots will just swamp you. They're reasonably large parrots, and so it's a little bit disconcerting when they all just start landing on you. But it's fun. And one time I was there because I'd gone there a few times, remembered me, and the guy says, I'll bring the kookaburras down. He just does the thing where he taps on a fence railing and these kookaburras swoop in. And I was doing my thing with a video camera on the monopod arm. So, my selfie stick. And I'm saying, I'm saying, look at the possums. And then the the guys are being funny, and he like put a bit of the meat on my shoulder. And so the kookaburra just jumped straight up and, yep, I'll sit there. And at one point it's like on the monopod arm. So it's this really good shot of like kookaburra between. But yeah, one of them was sitting on my shoulder and it's like a little strip of meat. And it started whacking it on me. And I'm going, oh, it's whacking at me. And I was explaining for the camera, like, they normally eat snakes and small stuff and they catch them and they're still alive when they catch them. So you'll often see them on a tree smashing a lizard or a snake against a tree to kill it before they eat it. And that's what it thinks it's doing with that bit of, that's why it's slapping me in the face with a bit of meat. It's saying, I'm going to kill the meat, kill the meat. And it's just like, because it was a bit of wet meat being slapped into my head by a bloody kookaburra. It's a very funny video, but it's a thing. Okay, Rain says he has a nervous dog. Whenever you juggle with toys, he takes 3 to 4 steps back. I don't know. Your dog has less faith in your juggling skills than you do from the sounds of it. I was at Lowe's, but you saw someone throw a steak out to a kookaburra. Forgot our steak had pepper smashed into the steaks. Oh, no. Kookaburra wasn't fond of the peppery meat. I remember years ago, 20, 30 years ago. It was a long time ago. I went for a holiday to Darwin and did a little tour up through Kakadu and Catherine Gorge. We do this thing where we're having a picnic, and the guide's saying, like, don't feed the kookaburras. It's but it's really hard to resist because they're so cute, and they would just come right up. We're like having a little barbecue, and the kookaburras are coming right up. So we started doing it. We had like the sandwiches they prefer that had like Devon or something, luncheon meat on them, and the kookaburras were really interesting. We got to the stage we throwing a bit of meat up in the air, and the kookaburras would grab it out of the air, like they'd take off and pluck it out of the air. We were amusing ourselves endlessly. I think the guide was really upset with us because we completely ignored the don't feed the kookaburras rule. But yes, Stella, the kookaburra was just whacking his meat on me. Yes, if Aidsy was here, that was a line he probably wouldn't be able to resist.
Did you see that news article about the dolphins that were missing people going out to them, and they're bringing coral to the shore to encourage people to come back?
Cargo cults from bloody dolphin. Oh, that's kind of fascinating. Yeah, the ones where humans do interact with them, they do seem to actually, as long as people aren't terrible, they do actually seem to enjoy the interaction with humans. Little do they know how untrustworthy we are. But
I wouldn't trust us.
Remember that really old Simpsons episode? It was like one of their Halloween ones, the Day of the Dolphin, where all the dolphins come out of the sea. That
was such a good episode.
My single favorite moment of that, when the dolphins were saying, we can't stand staying in the ocean anymore. It's making us sick, all this pollution and stuff. And Lisa says, oh, I'm sorry. I've tried to get them to stop the pollution. It's terrible. And the king of the dolphins just looks in horror. Wait, that was you doing that? Oh my God. Very upset. Safa, why didn't Aidsy come back? I actually sent Aidsy away before the blackout because he was too sleepy. He could not stay conscious, but he's got this real I must soldier on mentality. So occasionally I just have to say to him, no, you don't have to soldier on. You have to go lie down because your health is precarious enough when you can't really maintain consciousness in any meaningful form. I'm not going to have you dragging out in this garbled semi-conscious state. You should be lying down. Even if you can't sleep because of the pain, you should just be lying down. You should be resting. It's better than sitting up and trying to talk and just fading out every 5 seconds.
As I said, I can't judge him for that because I literally was doing that on Tuesday.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a completely
Stupid.
understandable thing. You go like, no, I can beat this. I can do this. I'm fine. No, this isn't going to beat me. I'm going to beat this. And it's just like, no, at a certain point, you have to go, maybe it's time to lie down. You know.
Yeah, I on Tuesday night, one of my friends was doing their D&D stream. So I was like participating in that. I remember the first hour. I do
Yeah.
not remember locking the front door, turning off lights, blowing out candles, moving all the way to bed with the laptop, and then getting into bed and falling asleep with the stream still going, and woke
Yeah.
up at the end of the stream really confused.
That's fair. Stella, it's time for us to slag off the dolphins because dolphins are in fact rapists. So
Only some, not hashtag not all dolphins.
not all hashtag not all dolphins. Also, they like orcas. They like to torture things that they're going to eat. They will play with them and you know, bite them, injure them, throw them around, kind of make them think like, oh, maybe you're going to get away, and not. Same as cats. Cats are little psychopaths. Yeah. Toying with the thing they're going to kill. What are you doing, AP? Yeah. Always looking a bit frenetic. It's a bit twitchy there.
His move stopped because he was going to show his bum, and I didn't think everyone needed to see that. There we go.
Yeah, he's just going to have a rest now. Yeah, stretch out, OP. But yeah, what I always love when people go, oh, you know, we should, you know, respect and be peaceful like nature. No, you know,
animals are horrible.
Yeah. There's only humans are cruel. No, there is a shit ton of really cruel animals, and even the ones that aren't cruel, that are only acting on instinct, are still pretty fucked up with some of the stuff they do. I've always been fascinated about the parasites that control the behavior of their hosts.
And sometimes they can get into a snail's brain and make their eyes flash so that a bird will eat them, and then infest all the birds, and then any kids that they have to take over and kill all these birds. And then when they get pooped out, they go back to another snail and continue the cycle. It's freaking terrifying.
There's some parasite that gets ants, and it's this, and it's one of these whole life cycle ones with ants get. I think they're, you know, feasting on dung that the thing's in, and there's this whole cycle where they basically make the ants sacrifice themselves to keep the life cycle going. Oh, it's fucking weird. It's mind control. Wow, nature's weird. Nature's weird and scary.
A book that I still have, actually. I had to buy a copy because I don't know whether I'd got it from the school library or whether it was like a friend's or something. This book by Scott Westerfield, who's known for his series, the Ugly series.
Yes.
But book Peeps, which was
great. Yeah.
And so because it talks about like vampirism as the virus, then he gives all in between each chapter like these little parasite breakdowns, and it talks about all these different types of parasitic infections and that thing. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
If I have any sort of stomach for actually dealing with the gross side of humans,
I
would love to do that, but I'll stick with studying their criminological behavior.
Yeah, no, parasitic stuff's weird. Yeah. Because I've read Peeps too. Yeah, the book is his version of vampires. It's called Peeps, which is slang for parasite positive, because it's an actual parasite that makes people behave like vampires, and he has a lot of fun with it. But my favorite interlude about parasites, there's this one that actually changed a species of host wasps because they could only infect the females. And they actually changed the DNA of these wasps so they were all female. So these wasps reproduce. They used to reproduce sexually, and this parasite changed the wasp DNA so they were all female and reproduced asexually. And you're going, what the fuck? And humans can get this parasite. And what tends to happen if this parasite gets into a human, it works its way through your system into your eyes. And he called this parasite the parasite that wants to take over the world. And Uh, when this gets into human, it gets into your eyes, which sends your autoimmune system into overdrive, and it goes too far and blinds you. Your own autoimmune system will blind you. The parasite doesn't blind you. Your body's reaction to the parasite blinds you. And he closed off that little one with a sentence along the lines of, what evolutionary advance would it give this parasite to have a world of blind humans? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it plans to take over the world.
It's such a great book, and I feel like it's one of the most underappreciated young adult novels out there because it's a nice, unique approach on vampirism. And it takes enough from the original to kind of play with it without being repetitive. And it's not shit like Twilight. So
and he did obviously set it up for sequels, which he then never wrote. So
I think from memory, a friend had mentioned something that they'd found a later book of his, which I've been meaning to look up for God knows how long, that he did from like a female perspective.
There is actually another book set in the same world. I think it's got to do with some people who are in a band together. So, but it's not the same characters as the characters in Peeps. It's different characters, but it's in the same world. And he just brought out some new Uglies books, and I heard really good things about them. I haven't read them. I read the whole Uglies series and loved them, but I haven't read the new ones, but I've heard very good things about them.
They're on my to-read list, and I'm waiting for Maureen Johnson to release more of her Ghost series. But the last book took a turn that I wasn't totally a fan of, so I'm like, oh, how do you pull this back from where now it's gone cliche?
Oh, okay. Yeah. And incidentally, Scott Westerfeld's married to a writer, an Australian, Justine Larbalester. I've read one of her books called Razorhurst, which is a ghost story set in sort of the gangster-riddled Darlinghurst of the 1920s. And it's great. It's really good. But I think the one that she got the most notice for, I think it's called My Sister Rosa, as someone who's...
Oh, that rings a bell.
The protagonist is a teenager and has a younger sister, and he's starting to realize his sister is a psychopath, as in the dangerous type. But she's still really young, and she's his sister. I think the protagonist is male. She's his sister, and he's both A, wanting to protect her, and B, becoming increasingly scared of her, I think.
I've just looked it up because I was like, I remember this. Yeah, so Che is the name of the son, and his sister Rosa is younger, so he feels like he's supposed to care for her, and then is getting increasingly concerned. It was such a good... I need to read that again.
Yeah, I've heard that's a good one. I haven't read it, but I just happened to... I picked up Razorhurst in the library. I was literally just in the library looking at books and went, oh, that's, I've been meaning to read some Justine Larbalester, and I picked it up, and it was really good. Like I said, a ghost story set in 1920s gangster-ridden Darlinghurst is just great. It's really good. And I read some of the backstory. She really went to trouble to research the slang people used at the time, because slang changes so much, and particularly it revolves around gangsters, sex workers, and the incredibly impoverished people from the slums, who all had their own language. And it's also quite fictionalized. Like it's clearly based on Darlinghurst in the 1920s, but it's not sort of down to, I'm going to describe it. There's some quite fantastical elements to it, but it's a really good read.
I feel like I was talking to friends recently, because obviously with isolation, a few of us have gone back to books that we read in high school that we haven't thought about a decade, or for some of my friends, 2 decades. And one of my friends was carrying on about, they were like, oh, how come it took Skullduggery for there to be like a female fantasy series that was, you know, not cliched. And I'm like, excuse me, you were skipping over one of the most amazing, underappreciated fantasy young adult authors, Tamora Pierce, who
Yeah.
wrote a series of Song of the Lioness, where the whole point is that a girl doesn't want to be a lady, and so she swaps roles with her brother, and he goes off
Yeah.
to maid school, and she trains to be a knight and has to pretend to be a guy because medieval patriarchy. And just absolutely is one of the best in her field, and that the whole point is that she doesn't fall in love with any of her best friends. She doesn't become, oh, now I want to be a lady because I've fallen in love with the prince or something. It is all, she's a kick-ass warrior, and then there's further series where she continues to be a badass and helps enable other strong women to be strong women, and
Yeah.
helping the guys actually build better communities. It's
Yeah.
great. No
Sounds
one ever
good.
talks about that.
Yeah. No, that sounds really good. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been reading anything yet. I was like, everyone's going, no, I haven't read any. I haven't, but in my defense, I also have not been watching an enormous amount of TV either. I've been doing these live streams and making my cocktail videos, and I feel vaguely guilty for not reading. But I used to read when I was on public transport, and I haven't been on public transport. So
since I moved closer to work, I don't read on the bus as much because my bus ride is 10 minutes.
yeah.
So if I read, by the time I'm into the book, I have to get off.
Yeah.
So
I have missed not on short trips, on long trips, but I've missed stops because I was so into what I was reading. And you look out the window and go, I don't recognize this area. Where the fuck am I?
Yep.
You're several stops past where you normally get off, and it's like, oh god, okay. So yeah, that's the danger of really being into reading and literally losing yourself and not knowing what's going on. I haven't even been reading my comics. I've got some comics that that I've bought, and they're just sitting there. And you know, I will definitely read those at some point soon. But I don't know, because I'm still working, so I don't have a huge amount more free time. I mean, yes, I have a 30-second commute instead of a 30 to 45-minute commute. But I don't have that much extra time really, so it's all a bit of much of a muchness. So yeah, soldiering on.
Trying to make sure the cat's not eating. No, he's just sniffing.
I was about to say, I thought he was distracting you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the last 2 weeks tried to start chewing cords. No reason. His teeth were fine. I checked him like 2 weeks ago. He was fine. He's just doing it because he's being a pain. And 2 nights ago, first time ever, nearly 2.5 years old, knocked a glass of water off the bedside table and nearly doused my whole power cord and laptop.
Oh shit! Oh,
he's just being a bit of a shit the last fortnight, and I don't know whether it is revenge for taking him to the vet or what. I'm over it.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Invisible Chickens confessing to having a pile of books and comics as well. Just ordered a book by James Baldwin, Giovanni's Room. I've not read any Baldwin. It's very easy for someone to go, no, oh yeah, that's a classic. I haven't read anything by them though. It's just it's the nature of things. I did find actually a non-fiction book that I'd been interested in reading for ages, and it was like a Salvation Army shop, and it was like $1 or $2, and I was going, oh, I was meant to read that. It was Jared Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel, where he tries to explore why did certain cultures develop what we regard as technology, and he's specifically citing the things that changed the world the most in the last couple millennia were guns, germs, and steel. If someone developed steel, that gave them a massive advantage over anyone else because steel's so much harder than naturally occurring metals. If you have a steel weapon and someone has a shield or armor made of brass, was quite common for a long time. A steel weapon will just go straight through it. And of course, gun, incredibly powerful tool. And seafaring people tended to really wipe out populations with the germs they brought with them. Although it was always a two-way thing. It's like, the early seafarers, there was always a good chance they were going to wreak havoc on a native population with some germs that these people had never encountered. But there's always a chance when they land somewhere, they pick up germs that they've never had before, and it kills everyone on the boats as well. But he was exploring, like, why Europe? Why did all this stuff happen in Europe and in Asia, and not so much in Africa or the Pacific? And I only just started reading it, and I need to get back to it. But he's very fair. Like, he's not being judgmental at all. Like, he's raising quite good reasons why people in this area didn't develop agriculture, because the terrain was hostile to agriculture, and there were resources that they could get via hunting and gathering.
Yeah.
So
they didn't need it.
Yeah. Agriculture. And they didn't have beasts of burden. Like in Europe and Asia, they had beasts of burden. And Africa, to an extent, they had beasts of burden. But then there are areas in the Pacific, including Australia and New Zealand, that there were no beasts of burden. So any form of agriculture, and it did exist, but it was done by hand. There was no heavy agriculture, because the maintenance of crops was done by humans by hand, because they didn't have beasts of burden. So it's certainly natural for things to not develop, because if you don't have agriculture, it's harder to stay in one place. You have to be nomadic to an extent to get new food sources, and so it has an effect on things to develop. But and then I also realized the book was 20 years old. I thought, I've literally been meaning to read that book for 20 years. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, finally caught up with it.
At some point, I've been reading The Trauma Cleaner, which is the Sandra Pankhurst biography. So she's a trans woman from New South Wales who was adopted by parents who thought they couldn't have kids, and then when they had kids, they decided they didn't want her as a little boy anymore, and so they put her in the back bed and treated her like crap, didn't feed her. And then, so then obviously she got old enough to be able to leave, and being trans throughout like the 70s, 80s, 90s, being in sex work in, I think it was in WA, she went into sex work. And talks about that experience. Then now she does like cleaning of crime scenes and hoarders' houses, and helps people get work in that industry, and helps people in difficult spots, because as she said, we're all just one traumatic event away from being in that situation. She's fortunate enough to be in a position to be able to help. But she's amazing, and like, just reading her perspective on things, it's just so astounding to think, no matter how much crap she's been through, particularly being a trans woman in the era that she was, trying to be out in that era, she's fortunate that she's found someone who loves her and supports her, because it's not easy now, let alone back then. So she's just amazing. But if anyone wants to read something that's a little bit disturbing, a little bit gruesome, but very uplifting, The Trauma Cleaner.
Oh, that's a good combination. A little bit dark, a little bit disturbing, but also uplifting.
Yeah, it's like, you're like, oh, this person has like waist high rubbish in their house, but actually then when you hear them talking about why, Oh, great. We got fireworks in my street.
Oh, really?
It makes sense. I don't know. There are a bunch of interesting looking, and not like me interesting looking, but is as in slightly looking criminal people. Not to judge, but
All
people
right. Yeah.
in my area who looked like they lived from the area I moved from.
Yeah.
Who came out this way when I was getting a bus home, and I was like, "You don't look like you are normally out this way. We'll see what happens tonight." So if they're only setting off fireworks in the park,
Yeah.
not too bad, but they might be squatting in the park and
Yeah.
there's not restrooms there.
Oh gosh.
So
Okay.
yeah, if you're gonna squat, go
Yeah.
like there's a 20-minute down the road, there's big bushlands that people do squat on. Like particularly we've got some lovely First Nations people who set up tent areas around there and they've
Yeah.
got bathrooms and they're really lovely and the land itself is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Don't come and squat in a random park where there's not even a toilet.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Instead of
No.
fireworks.
Desperation does often lead people to make ill-advised choices. It's very troubling that, as you say, there's nothing good comes from that.
No. And Supper, no, fireworks are not legal in South Australia.
They're not legal anywhere in Australia.
It amazes me how they get them. But yeah, and a lion spider. Every tree is a restroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Poor elderly people who go for their morning walk through the park tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why I don't go to that park because it's just full of oldies. So they don't much like people like me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I get where you're coming from, but yeah. I just noticed that Safa saying, "Do people still read, or do they do audiobooks?" Audiobooks are great, I think.
Yeah.
I'm good with either. Although again, I had Audible for a really short time, and then realized I wasn't in a position to keep listening to things, so stopped it. But I made the most of it. It's like, oh yeah, join now, and you get pick any book free. And I'd heard the writer I liked, Alan Moore, who's he's definitely more famous for comics like Watchmen and From Hell. He had a novel called Jerusalem, and I heard an interview with him talking about it. I'm like, oh my God, this is fascinating. This book's about literally everything: the meaning of life, the nature of reality, the nature of time, good and evil, and it's just trippy as hell from the description. So I got it, and it's one of the longest English language novels there are. That's not like an experimental trash thing. The audio book is 61 hours.
God.
So even and I got that when I was working in Footscray, which is the other side of town, and I was driving there. So I had 45 minutes to an hour in the car each way. So it took several months to get through this because it was so long. And again, it's just trippy as hell. It covers hundreds of years, all based around the town where he grew up, Northampton. And then you realize at a certain point, because it changes style radically when it's telling different stories. And at a certain point, you realize, oh, God, that person from the 1400s that he was talking about who had the weird experience, it's because time intersected with someone in the 1800s. And then that intersected again with someone in the modern era. And you're actually seeing the same events, but from different people's perspectives. And they're not just different people, they're in different times. And because of some weirdness, they've all intersected in this thing. And it's playing with this whole idea that, like time's an illusion anyway. And it does your head in. That book really does your head in a good way. You look concerned, Dad.
I'm just trying to. They've set off more fireworks, and I can hear one of my neighbor. Well, the neighbor I share a wall with. I could hear her doing something. So I'm not calling the cops over this because I don't know specifically where they are. I have a very. It's very likely they're just in the park because that's where it sounds like it's coming from. But I'm not going out checking. Like,
No.
but then I just laughed. I saw a headline of Sapol because I was checking if anything's been put on Sapol yet.
Yeah.
A man was found drink driving in Kilburn with only 2 tires remaining on his vehicle.
Wowzers! That's what you call impaired. That's seriously impaired.
That's what I was like. What?
That's your judgment's gone right out the window if you keep driving when the tires are gone. But
so he's lost his license for 6 months and had 2 tires, 1 rim, and 1 wheel missing. He was driving a Mitsubishi Lancer.
Sure. So actually, an entire wheel and rim missing. That again, you've got to be really drunk to think that's a good idea.
He's my age. This is what people my age are making. I'm 28. Like, sort your shit out. As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, it's that area.
It happens. There's always people being rich. I just noticed when I mentioned Footscray, Locust Trooper called it the dirt foot of Melbourne. Yeah, but Footscray used to be rough as hell, and it's now basically regarded as one of the trendiest suburbs in Melbourne, which is hilarious.
It's still very up and coming because all these people who couldn't afford to buy bought into the area and basically bought it, and now it's fancy.
So, because when I first moved to Melbourne 20 years ago, Footscray. I actually lived in Footscray when I first moved here, and it was a bit rough. But now it's one of the trendiest places in Melbourne.
But that's the suburb we grew up in, and it's as they're starting to sell the old housing trust houses to people to try and get them to buy into the housing market.
Yeah.
Will probably become a bit nicer, but unfortunately, because there has been massive job loss for people who were working trades that live in that area, those people are drinking or doing drugs and doing a lot of illegal activities because they've got nothing else to do, and I fully understand that, but we need to be doing something better to stop them getting to that point.
Yeah, true. Locust Troop's now one-upping me. Go, okay, Footscray's okay, but you've got to admit St Albans is a shithole.
Hey, I remember when my stepmom was living in Avalon.
Yeah.
That's an interesting area.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting areas. Well, I try and avoid St Albans, but that's where my ex-in-laws, my kids' grandparents lived in St Albans, so I am quite familiar with St Albans and its shithole characteristics. It's a bit. I think I'm going to go to bed because it's after 10 already. My sense of time has been completely smacked out by that bloody blackout.
It freaks you out completely when stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Well, there's no Invisible Chicken was listening to Harry Potter fanfic audiobook, Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. It's made into an excellent podcast with different voice actors, over 100 hours, and only focused on Harry's first year. Both he and his mum prefer it to the original books, which is interesting.
A Harry Potter podcast, I'm just bringing it up, that I'm listening to that sort of treats it, because it's done by people who are, I believe, one of them's like Orthodox Jewish and one of them's Christian or something like that. Abrahamic religions anyway. And they're treating it as if it was like a gospel, as in let's take a message away from each chapter and let's look at it filter. It's so here it is. Harry Potter and the Sacred Text.
Okay.
You a brief summary of the chapter, and then this is what we took away from it, looking at it through the lens of, you know, XYZ. So they had one that was, you know, looking at the final chapter of the first book through, which is, you know, the whole. It's not spoilers at this point, so if you haven't read it or seen the movies, your problem. But where he's confronting Voldemort in the back of Quirrell's head, that whole chapter about looking at it through the lens of love, because obviously find out later that's got a massive impact. Or looking at the trio going down into the trapdoor as through that as the lens of destiny. Is there a way that was destined to happen, and how do we have control over destiny, that type of thing. So that's one that I really enjoy, because it makes you reanalyze the book and sort of gives it depth than particularly the movies did. But the movies were very good on their own, but they just missed a few things.
Yes, yeah, and then because I've never read the books, I was always fascinated that some people reading the books are like, why did they leave out this stuff that was actually really important to the development of X, and they put in some other really stupid shit that you didn't need? Yeah.
Why did it take them several movies to remember that some of the characters were described in the books as black? Why did it take them several movies to take Lavender Brown, who was black in the first few movies, to making her white for Ron to date her?
I think I saw you post that the other day on Facebook.
Yeah, I think I said something about that. It makes me so mad.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't pay enough attention to the movies to notice there was a side character who was black for several movies. And then they just make her white. Yeah, when she's making out with Ron, she's white. And I say, oh, okay, that's dodge as.
Do we not remember the two very... And what annoyed me as well was the black characters they cast as her in the previous films looked nothing alike. So there wasn't even consistency as to how black she was. Like, they were very different backgrounds. Like, it just... it was so poorly done. And they completely cut out Lee Jordan, who is best friends with the Weasley, who is the person who runs the radio station. That is the whole reason that they keep in contact when the trio are off running around doing God knows what and out of contact with everyone else. You wouldn't have that connection if it wasn't for Lee Jordan, but we'll cut him out because he's black. You only see him occasionally narrate Quidditch. It's so...
Right. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, dear.
Add it to my shit list of things that I want to punch J.K. Rowling about.
No, I know she's a bloody turf, but
yeah, that's at the top of my list.
Oh, that's definitely at the top of the list. Yes. Okay. Well, that's a fun, cheery thing to end on, but we'll just J.K. Rowling. That's okay. All right. Well, look after yourself, everyone. I hope to catch up with you again soon. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow night or not, but if I'm not on tomorrow night, I'll be on very soon. Take care of yourselves. We live in absolutely weird times, so we need to be good to ourselves and to other people. But I'm going to say bye and see you later.